Hey, everybody, and welcome to our weekly show. We call it Three Broke Guys Handicapping. It's where we review one of the top racing cards from around the United States. We will select a four race weekends from that track and attempt to come to a consensus on a pick four ticket. Thank you for joining us. It's week number 33 of the racing season, and look at that. We're right back at historic Saratoga Racetrack in Saratoga Springs, New York. The spa has, well, let's call it what it is. It's, short of the Breeders' Cup or possibly a Triple Crown race day. It's the best card you'll see all year. It includes 7 graded stakes races. Joe, what number did Mickey Mantle wear?
7 last I remember.
7. All right. So 6 grade ones that day. They include the Run Happy Travers Stakes. The pick 4 starts in race number 8 and it ends in race number 11. There are all stakes in the pick 4 on Saturday, and they're all grade ones. My name is Rich Sharp, and each week I'll be joined by my friends and racing analysts, and unfortunately I have to give you a very late scratch tonight. Our East Coast handicapper is normally with us from Staten Island, New York, although he was sunning it down in he down in Virginia this week, I believe. Ray Torado is not going to be with us tonight, and Joe and I are sending our best wishes to his wonderful wife, who I understand is not feeling well tonight. So I hope the Torados are doing well, and I hope they have a wonderful vacation this week down in, I believe it's Virginia Beach. I'm from California.
Actually, they're traveling on their way home. Their vacation
is
over.
All right. Up next, as you hear him there popping in and out, helping me out tonight, as our West Coast handicapper. He's helping me out as my host role. He is my West Coast handicapper, and tonight he is my best handicapper from his home in Temecula, California. Joe English. Joe, summer is almost over. It just flew by, but oh, what a summer.
It's been a great summer, but I do want to, I have a bone of contention based on what you just said. The Belmont card.
All right.
Is probably
the Belmont card might be
too.
So those two New York races,
the two of them are pretty close.
And for those of you who are doubt me, go back and watch our Belmont episode. I believe I waxed philosophic equally, Joe, on that particular game. All right. So, all right, last week was thanks to who. Last week we skipped our show. I went off to a rock concert, I have to admit, at the last minute, and I left my friends out there. So we did not have a show last week. Prior to that, we had missed at the Arlington Million was our last pick 4 together. I am going to give you a quick weather update from Saratoga Springs, New York. They have intervals of clouds and sunshine. There's a high of 81 degrees. Sounds like a wonderful day to me. Winds at 5 to 10 miles an hour. 10% chance of rain. So keep your eye on the skies. A total of 13 races. Joe, do you remember what George Costanza was going to name his firstborn son?
7.
7 stakes on tap for Saturday, folks. For today, we are focused on the pick 4. It begins in race number 8. It concludes in race number 11. Gentlemen, the gates are locked and loaded. The outriders are clear, and the starter is ready to pop the gate. Joe, is pick 4 post time?
So wait a minute, it's not a pick 7?
It should be a pick 7. They should have that bet.
Let's go.
All right, let's go. Race number 8, and they are going, before we get started tonight, there is a guarantee of $1 million in this pick 4 that we are betting tomorrow. We are starting off in race number 8. They are going 7 furlongs on the main track. It is the Ballerina, the Kettle One Ballerina Stakes. It's a grade 1. The purse is $500,000 for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward. I must admit, I'm going to actually take a peek here. I have to take a last-second peek at the morning line favorite. Hang on one second. The morning line favorite, if I am not mistaken, is that number 7, Marley's Freedom. And I don't even have a bobblehead doll to share with you, but off the top of my head, I happen to know that horse is trained by Bob Baffert. Ray, who do you like in the Ballerina? Joe, excuse me. My mind is a little spaced out there.
Okay, I get it. No worries.
I'm actually surprised at that to see it's Bob Baffert and Mike Smith on the favorite there in the Ballerina.
You can't be shocked to see Mike Smith and Bob Baffert as a favorent. Come on now, Rich, please. It's funny because on the PPs for Marley's Freedom, I have, the update. I have the PPs say 50%, but they have a minus ROI. So obviously they have a lot of favorites. But actually, I'm going against Baffert here, and because I don't know, maybe it's just because I see Baffert, I see Marley's Freedom, and Marley's Freedom is basically just beating the same 3 horses, same 4 horses like Uvetzi and Sky Diamonds and Phantom Proton. And this race is really much more contentious, I think, than the races she's been running in out in Southern California. Again, not to say that she can't win, but if she's the morning line favorite, I'm kind of going to take my stand against her. The horse I like is just inside of her, and that's the 6, Lewis Bay. It's funny. I hear the chuckle. I was looking at my PPs. I hear the chuckle, and then I look up and see your check mark. She happens to run well fresh. She's won twice at the distance. Her one start at Saratoga was a not bad 4th in the test when she was up close to a really wicked pace and faded down the stretch to Paula Queen and Lightstream. Again, she runs well fresh. She's won a couple of graded stakes. She has not won a grade 1 yet. And I'm hopeful that this is her opportunity. She's obviously placed in grade 1s, Humanidis staff, the Madison, the Mother Gooks, and a race you guys might have heard of, the Kentucky Oaks.
Something rings a bell.
Yeah, and you know this Chad Brown, Irad Ortiz combination is pretty good, and basically Chad Brown runs that meet up at Saratoga now. I remember it used to be certain guys. It used to be Lucas and Pletcher, and now it's basically Chad Brown's playground, and everybody else is really pretty much running for a 2nd and 3rd in the trainer standings. So I just think his horses are running so well, and I think Lewis Basin, she runs well fresh, and I think she's going to sit a really nice trip. I don't think there's a lot of speed. I think she's going to sit right off of Finley's Lucky Charm and probably pounce, take the lead at the top of the lane, and hopefully basically the way Chad Brown's horses have been running up there, she'll probably draw off and win pretty comfortably. But this field is really tough, so I don't really expect it. That's just a comment on the way Chad Brown's horses are running up at Saratoga. The other horse I'm going to take is a little bit of a price horse. I believe she's 5-1 in the morning line. And that's the 2, Ivy Bell. She's back doing what I think she wants to do for Pletcher. I don't know that she's necessarily a great distance horse. The mile and a 16th at Belmont is a 1-turn race. She got beat obviously pretty easily by Abel Tasman, who is obviously running in the personal ensign later against actually earlier in the card against the late. I just think that Ivy Bell isn't necessarily a long distance horse. I think most of her better performances are when she was sprinting. Like I said, she a 2nd behind American Gal in the Humanidis staff on a wet fast track. She won the inside information at Gulfstream Park. And obviously she's been 1st or 2nd in every try at this distance, 13 of 19 in the exacta. And as much as Todd Pletcher is really running for 2nd in the trainer standings, he's still pretty darn good. And like I said, she's back sprinting, doing what she wants to do. And if for whatever reason the speed isn't holding, she'll be able to make her run. And I just hope she gets clear. I think there may be some traffic in behind the 2 leaders, because I don't know that there's really going to be an excruciatingly fast pace. I can see 22 and 4, 23. And I really don't see the speed horses backing up into her, but I see horses in and around her. And I just hope she's able to get a nice trip. Maybe she'll be able to take the rail from Tecalita and maybe squeeze through if Finley's Lucky Charm drifts off the rail, and maybe she'll get her clear run that way. So for the Pletcher Castellano team, I'm going to take Ivy Bell as my other choice. So it's 6 Lewis Bay over 2 Ivy Bell in the Ballerina for me Saturday, Rich.
Excellent, Joe. All right. Well, I actually have to speak tonight, because without Ray around, I'm going to have to show off handicapping.
Go for it. You can do it. I know you can do it.
So, and as those of you who are watching the screen, you might have seen the check mark snipped in there at the last second. So I will confess to all of you here that sometimes I now handicap on a tablet, and Joe can back me up on this. The tablet goes with me everywhere. It's got DNA all over it. And I handicap off that tablet religiously. And sometimes when I'm at work, I don't have time to translate that information from the talent back to the racing form that you guys see me broadcast every night. So rest assured, I did do my handicapping for this week. This is, again, short of the Breeders' Cup, short of Belmont Stakes Day. This is one of those huge days that you just have to, kind of take a shot at. So Joe is on it. I have Lewis Bay, Chad Brown, Irad Ortiz. literally, one of my favorite combinations, possibly the only combination I might like a little bit better, is Jose Ortiz and Chad Brown. But let's just not digress at this point in time. This is a speed type, and if we go back here and we're looking at 7 furlong races here, we do have a fairly decent sampling size. We got 38 races, and as you see there, we've got not a Santa Anita baked down, but you do have 61% of these races are going to the speed favoring types. This race usually does go to a speed favoring type, and as Joe caught, this race did not come up exceptionally fast. Even if you look here by Brisnet form, and Brisnet is usually pretty generous as far as this category is concerned. If you've ever been within, the first post in any race, you'll get an E or an EP next to your name and things like that. And as you can see here, it's really just the two, Finley's Lucky Charm and Lewis Bay, that they're counting on to be up there at the top of that pace. And you see down there in the very final, in the prime power, it's also those two, Finley's Lucky Charm and Lewis Bay, followed by Baffert's horse. I've actually got a little cocktail napkin here that's got my 3 picks on it, Joe, and I would love to bring it up here and show it to you guys on the screen, because Baffert's horse is not one of my top 3 choices. This is one of those nights for me when God knows what else I might do tonight. But I've got Lewis Bay as my top pick. I thought the speed favoring here, I thought she has a little bit more of a speed advantage, although I do like Brett Calhoun and Brian Hernandez up there on the 5. But I thought that Lewis Bay, being able to put away the 5, doesn't have to worry about anybody coming from the back in this race. I don't see it being that kind of a race where you're going to see a close where it's going to be a breakdown. And so that's where my check mark ends up. My second choice, believe it or not, I went all the way out to Highway Star, one of my favorites. I've liked this horse for a long time. Again, Joe was kind of talking about his metric there where he had his horse and the distance. And again, at 7 furlongs, 6 tries, 5 times, either first or second as far as Highway Star was concerned. Rodrigo Ubilio, sneaky good trainer. And of course, Luis Saez comes up for the ride. The horse has had 3 seconds in a row, which kind of, as far as like a solid second pick for me, my solid second pick would probably be the 5. I would put Finley's Lucky Charm ahead of Highway Star. But as you know, on 3 Broke Guys handicapping, that's the reason we're broke, you got to look for a little bit of a price. And so sometimes I want to look for that price like that. So if you are looking for a price horse there, I did include the 9 on my pick 4 selections. I went 6, 9, 5, and I believe my good friend Joe here went 6, 2. And unfortunately, we don't even have our text messages in from our buddy from New York, Ray. And again, I hope him and his wife are feeling better tonight.
Yeah, maybe we'll. I don't know if he will have had a chance to handicap. Maybe we can get some pics from him either on Facebook or on Twitter or something.
Yeah, we'll get something up before tomorrow.
We'll send him a text and see if we can pressure something out of him.
Absolutely. I got one comment already from his show, and somebody recognized, yes, no, I am not in my normal handicapping spot. This is not my normal decal for the horse racing. Thank you very much. I did appreciate that. All right. Get on back, and
hey, we have a viewer. That's awesome.
We had someone who actually knew where I was sitting.
Number 1.
All right, race number 9. That's not true. We have several. Race number 9.
Documented number 1. How about that?
All right. And let me move along here and make sure that I don't read the wrong race number 9 here before I get confused. And race number 9 is the Forgo. And again, this is going 7 furlongs on the main track. It is the Forgo Stakes. Purse is a grade 1, and the purse is $600,000 for 3-year-olds and upward. And excuse me, let me get all the way back down to my morning line favorites here. And it looks here, if I'm not mistaken, that the morning line favorite is in post number 8, and he's actually been on this show before. It is City of Light. He is trained by Michael McCarthy, but if I'm not mistaken, that's a new rider. He's got a new pilot aboard, and ooh, that's a flashy new pilot he's got, Joe. That's Irad Ortiz. 9-5 on the Saratoga morning line. Again, I wish I had a little bit more information for you. I'm going to turn it over to Joe. Joe, who do you like in the Forgo?
It's funny. City of Light is my second choice. He's obviously grade 1 winner. Tried a mile and a quarter last time against Accelerate, who obviously has proven to be his better at a mile and a quarter. Accelerate is just 10 furlongs seems to hit him right between the eyes. And it's funny because I remember when we handicapped the Oakland Handicap, we weren't sure what to do with City of Light. We basically left him off our tickets because it was like, well, the horse has been running at 7 furlongs. I mean, obviously we didn't know obviously Mike McCarthy knew what he was doing, and that's why we're 3 broke guys and not 3 rich guys. But I wasn't. We weren't sure what to do with him that day, and I don't know. I still don't know if I'm not really sure what to do with him here. I just don't think you can leave him off the ticket. Obviously, shipping to Saratoga, it's not as if he's been here a long time. He's been training at Del Mar. He's obviously never seen Saratoga before, probably except maybe until a couple of days ago, unless maybe when he was a baby, if he had spent some time up there. Honestly, I wouldn't know. But those he's been working. Look at those drills. Every single one, bullet. It's like, God, if he, New York State Police are after him for all those bullets he's been firing. It's sick. He's been training so well. I kind of wonder if maybe he's leaving it all on the track in the mornings. He's 9 to 5. He's going to be lower than 9 to 5. I don't think this race came up all that strong, but I don't think he's not my top choice. He's going to be my second choice on, like I said, all the bullet works. 2-time grade 1 winner at 7 furlongs. Most of his damage has been done in Southern California. He did ship to win the Oakland Handicap, as we discussed earlier. But I'm going to go with a horse that I keep trying to beat, and now I'm done trying to beat him, and that's the one. Limousine Liberal just seems to keep running his race time after time after time after time after time. 5 for 10 at 7 furlongs, 9-time winner. He's 0 for 3 at Saratoga, which might be a cause. It might be some reason to pause, but he's obviously won from the rail before. He won from the rail in the Belmont Sprint last time out. But like I said, I did like him one day. I'm trying to remember when it was. It was on Derby. Maybe it was on Derby Day in 2018. I'm not 100% sure. No, actually, I think it might have been the year before. It was the day he beat Masochistic. Might have been it was the Churchill Downs Handicap. I see it on it was May 6, 2017. It was last year. Mm-hmm. Because all the speed was running well and it was raining. And I remember the day because I remember saying, I remember we had our conversation with Ron Ellis about Masochistic, not necessarily that day, obviously, but previously, that he's very track specific, and obviously we kind of thought he was beatable that day, and I liked Limousine Liberal at 13-1, and he got home for me that day. I think that was the last time I probably liked him. So based on this, like I said, he just keeps running his race after race after race. He gets Jose Ortiz, who obviously has shaken off that early Saratoga slump. Obviously he's 29 wins on the meet, but early on he was really struggling. So over the last couple of weeks, he's obviously taken off. And obviously he's back aboard. The last 2 times he's been aboard this horse, the horse won. He's gonna be on the rail. He's gonna have to work out a trip. I don't know that there's a lot of speed in this race either, believe it or not. And I think City of Light does have an advantage to be able to sit outside of all the speed and basically move when he's ready. But to be honest, there's not so much speed in here that City of Light can't be on the lead if he wants it. So, obviously pace is going to be a major factor in how this race is run. But like I said, I'm just tired of banging my head against the wall with Limousine Liberal. So I'm making sure he's on my ticket and he's going to be my top choice. So I went 1-8. I just went too deep in the Forgo, Rich. And I wanted to share a little nugget with you that I figured out over this week. Did you know that Todd Pletcher has never won this race?
You're kidding.
Nope.
Wow.
Has never won the Forgo. And it's fun. And it's funny because I was bored at work and looked it up. He hasn't won the Ballerina since 2012. And I believe he hadn't won the Sword. I'm not sure about the other. There was another race. I think maybe it was one of the other races early on that he had won since 2012. So he's kind of struggled on this day other than the Travers. But go ahead. Take off.
Well, I'm going to make a bold prediction, Joe. He's not going to win the Forgo this year either. I'm going to go right out there on that limb.
boy, you're really taking a mighty big swing considering he has no horse in the race.
Oh, okay. Besides that, pull me back next time I stretch out on that limb. All right. Joe went 1-8 here, which just sounds ridiculous to me because, of course, I went 8-1. I was very close to singling in this race, as you see me, putting the big circle because on my on my little pad, that was what I was just my eyes bugged out of my head when I saw that Irad Ortiz was going to be aboard for City of Light this day. I genuinely, and when I saw those works on that page, when I saw all these bullets down here, folks, all this information here, Joe mentioned the possibility of him leaving it on the track, and he's certainly right. There's definitely a possibility when you see a horse put up these kind of numbers for that amount of time on the training track. There's definitely a possibility of him leaving on the track. If he does not leave it on the track, if he brings it to the track on Saturday, this race is over as soon as they ring that bell and open the gate. He is going to dust this field. The only reason I couldn't quite single him is because that's one of my favorites up there in gate number 1. And if you watch this show, we were handicapping back on July the 7th at Belmont Stakes Day. I'm a little embarrassed to say that the 3 broke guys did not hit the pick 4 that day. But I did. And it was because I had Limousine Liberal as my second choice on my ticket. Sometimes it just has to do with the name. As much as handicapping is about all the different factors that come in there, sometimes there are these horses who, when they get their name in the right spot, then they just kind of have an appeal to you, and they kind of always stick in the back of your head. And Limousine Liberal is one of those horses that I'm sure that until they retire him, he's always going to be stuck in the back of my head for some of the things that he's done. Joe brought up the 13-1 popping there at Churchill Downs. Joe, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe that although you did have him at 13-1, I think that also knocked us out of the pick 4 that day.
Probably. I
don't remember for anybody who likes to watch our show, and anybody who likes research and going back and watching, crazy 3 guys, broke guys, handicapping and things like that, you can go back and watch it because I never delete my videos off of there. So that show is on there, and I can promise you that was there because that's the first Saturday in May. Anyway, he's a quality horse. If you look at these numbers here, not only is all he do is win, but all he does is really finish first, second, or third. But mainly all he does is win. He's a high quality animal who always brings his best thing. It doesn't matter what post he's in. It doesn't seem to matter what the surface type is or what the quality of the track is, I should say. He won at that wet fast track. He's the real deal. If you leave him off your ticket, as my colleague just mentioned a little while ago, you do have a tendency to tear up a lot of those tickets. So I couldn't put him on top like Joe did. I honestly believe that City of Light, if he brings his A game, this game is over. Again, as soon as they open that gate, but I'm putting Limousine Liberal in there as well. So I've got 8-1. Joe, ridiculous, 1-8. And I am coming back to you guys.
Not the first or last time any of my picks have been called ridiculous.
All right, and let me come on back and get my screen correct for you guys. And we are moving along to, this is race number 10. This is going 1.5 miles on the inner turf. It is the Sword Dancer Stakes. It's a grade 1. The purse is $1 million. It's for 3-year-olds and upward. And your morning line favorite, one moment here. Let me scan back down to my morning line favorites here. Ooh, this is actually a juicy morning line favorite here. We've got the number 10 horse at 7-2. This is Sadler's Joy. He's shown up on the show almost as often as Joe and Ray have. Trained by Thomas Albertrani and ridden by Javier Castellano. He is 7-2 on the Saratoga morning line. Mr. English, who do you like in the Sword Dancer?
I just want to say one thing. Isn't Sadler's Joy named Accelerate? Sorry. I had to go there. Yeah. And actually, there's one other thing I kind of wonder, and maybe this is the first I've noticed it. Other than maybe the Arlington Million, are there really any other stakes races on the grass that are $1 million races?
That's an excellent point.
I mean, it kind of makes me surprised that there aren't more than 10 horses in the field. I would think there'd be more like 12.
That's a great point. Other than the Arlington, if anybody knows the answer to this, because I think Joe just made an excellent point. Other than the Arlington Million, is there another and other than the Breeders' Cup, obviously, is there
of course.
Yeah, is there another $1 million turf race in the continental United States? Heck, let's even bring in Woodbine. Let's even ask Canada if they've got one.
Yeah, I don't, like I said. Well, the Woodbine Mile isn't. I don't generally think is that Woodbine Mile.
I thought that was like a $750,000 race.
Yeah, but like I said, the million is. I think this is rare air.
This is rare air. I agree.
So anyway, like I said, just when I saw that, I was like, oh wow, that is odd. Anyway, this turned out to be a very difficult race. to handicap. I mean, I'd say probably 6 or 7 of the 10 wouldn't surprise me if somebody told me they won. The choice I went with was the 7. I went with Channel Maker. Dead heated for the win last time in the Bowling Green and goes a little bit further this time. And I just, because of the presence of Fantastic, I don't think Glorious Empire is just going to be able to make the lead and sit out there by himself, run 51 and change, 117, and have enough to hold off Channel Empire this time. I think because of Fantastic's appearance and Glorious Empire, the two of them, I think there'll be a little bit more speed, and I think there'll be a little bit more of an honest pace. And I know High Happy's not going to let either one of those two horses get away. Apparently Todd Pletcher seems to think that High Happy didn't like the ground last time. If that's the case, High Happy is going to be up close to that. So I don't see 51 and 117. So I think Channel Maker's run last time was impressive, given that the fractions were so slow and that there really wasn't a challenge to Glorious Empire throughout that race. And he actually got up at least to dead heat for the win. And I think, like I said, just because of the pace setup, I think he's going to be better off. I think as long as he's maintained his form, obviously Bill Mott knows what he's doing. Joe Rosario came out here and won 4 races at Del Mar last weekend on Pacific Classic Day, including Accelerate. So obviously he's a pretty hot jockey, even though he only shows 19 wins at Saratoga. That 4-win day at Del Mar shows that he can go anywhere and win races. And obviously they're a pretty, Mott and Rosario are a pretty good combination. So I'm going to take Channel Maker on top, and I'll take 5-1 if I can get it. And I think I probably will, because like I said, this is a pretty contentious field. Second choice for me is the 6, Bigger Picture, who also last time made up a lot of ground in that race, but really almost had no chance to win based on the way the race shape played out. They were slow early or very slow early, and he was even further back than, 7 lengths back. He was really far behind, so he was really up against it, and he got within a length at the end. And again, because of the pace scenario that I'm expecting tomorrow, it's going to be a little bit more friendly to closers. So Bigger Picture to me is another horse who can run well and outrun his odds, and he's 8-1. Savage Joy finished in between Channel Maker and Bigger Picture last time out. Another closer who should probably benefit. So I guess I'm basically just saying, okay, I don't think that the closers were helped by that last race, by that pace and the pace in that last race. And I think they're going to get a much more friendly pace today than they got last time. So I went with the 3 closers. I went 7, 6, and 10. Now I just want to make sure everybody's aware. Not that I don't know anything, but if for whatever reason Fantastic does not run tomorrow and Glorious Empire is left alone on the lead again, my picks might change. But like I said, for all I know, I'm going with the fact that the field is going to run as it is. So I went again, Channel Maker, Bigger Picture, Saddler's Joy, 7, 6, 10 in the Sword Dancer tomorrow for $1 million in race 10. Rich?
Oh, you're gonna love this. So I'll give you.
Go for it.
I'll give you my first. I'll give you my top pick first, but you'll sit there and say, "Yeah, I saw that one coming, Rich. That one's not going to surprise me and things like that." And then you'll love this. So my top pick is I went way out of the river. Right? I went Todd Pletcher, John Velasquez, right? So High Happy, and I am thinking that there is not the speed bias that we saw last time, and I also felt, and God, I don't think I ever say this. I don't think we ever say this. I don't know what happened in that last race. I'm just going to chalk it up to something went wrong, as Joe brought up before, that he didn't like the ground, that possibly John Velasquez could have possibly made a mistake. I'm sorry to say that. I don't want to, incur the wrath like that. Something happened in that last race, and I am choosing, as we have done before on Three Broke Guys Handicapping, to go ahead and go with a little bit of forgiveness. I haven't brought it up in a while, but this last one doesn't count as far as I'm concerned. I'm just going to toss it, say it didn't matter. I like the idea that he doesn't like the ground. And before that, at this particular distance or the longer distances on the turf, especially with a slow pace like he had that last time, God forbid, with the 51 in the opening quarter mile, in the opening mile, my God, I was really shocked to see that horse fold up. So drawing the line through that, again, no more Luis Saez is gone, but we're going to go with Velasquez again, Todd Pletcher. I am sticking with High Happy. I'm going back to my guy. So High Happy is my top pick. And now this. Again, not something that I usually do. You don't see me often coming on our show here for 30-1 long shots from the UK. This race is going to be on the grass. This is their preferred surface. This is Aidan O'Brien. He didn't bring Ryan Moore with him, which kind of has me squinting and leads me to believe that this could be a choice that will probably be leaned off of my choice with that. But the fact of the matter is that I've actually made some nice money betting Aidan O'Brien horses on the turf here in the United States at much less odds than 30-1. I'm not quite sure of Wayne Lorden, who he is, but again, I trust in Aidan, I guess, if you'd like. And I think the 8 has somehow weaseled his way onto my ticket. And I'm going to pair them. I figured in this race, as I was handicapping and things like that, I could show it to you on my little tablet and like that. I figured I was going to pair my High Happy, who from the front, my Sea Hinge, who I thought was just going to come from God knows where, and I was going to pair those ever horses I like from my other two broke guys, because Joe and Ray usually give me very, very solid picks on the turf. As you guys have mentioned, if you've watched this show before, you know that my specialty is the maiden claiming 20,000 dirt, and you couldn't be any further away from maiden claiming 20,000 on the dirt than $1 million at 1.5 miles on the grass at Saratoga. I needed my friends to help me. So I went 4 and then just way, way off the reservation to the 8. Joe has got 7, 6, and 10. And to be honest with you, I was dying to know who Toronto had in this race too.
Hey, Rich, Wayne Lorden actually rode. I'm trying to remember. It was in the million because didn't. If I remember right, Aidan O'Brien had 2 horses in the million.
I believe I could bring it up.
So I think he was on one of them.
Okay.
But here's the other thing. The funny part is Ryan Moore is in town to ride Mendelssohn in the Travers.
Oh. Well, you know what? So let's put the 8. Let's put the 8 down below the 4 now as we get to that race.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, when I fill out the template, I'll have the 8 beneath the 4, and I'll see if there's any room to go ahead and work the 8 back in to give my fantasy. Otherwise, it's just
30-1. I'm never going to talk. I'm never going to try to talk anybody off a 30-1 shot, but.
But let's face it, before
we get to the Travers, just so that Ryan Moore is scheduled to ride Mendelssohn in the Travers.
And the reason you're saying that is that Rich plays the pilots. So let's face it. If Ryan,
yes, he does.
If Aidan O'Brien's got a top horse there and Ryan Moore's not riding it, there's something to kind of make you go.
Yeah, I'm not sure Ryan Moore rides a lot of 30-1s in Europe, to be honest with you.
No,
or anywhere else for that matter.
All righty. So in that race, I went 4 with, like I said, way long shot with the 8. And then Joe has got the 7, the 6, and the 10. And if you check back tomorrow when our template comes in, I bet you anything, some of the 7, 6, and 10 will also show up on my line. All right. Here we go. We are moving along to the reason we have all come here tonight. It is race number 11. It is the Travers. Excuse me. It is the Run Happy Travers Stakes. It is presented by Naira Bets. Grade 1, the purse. $1,250,000. It is for 3-year-olds. And let me get down here to our favorites here. I'm pretty sure I know the name of the favorite. I just want to make sure I've got these odds correctly. And that is number 9. He is Good Magic. And hold on one second. Sorry, folks. I did not have all my notes together tonight. So the favorite tonight is in the 9 post. It is Good Magic. He is trained by Chad Brown. He is ridden by Jose Ortiz. As I said, I'm not in my normal room, so the bobblehead doll is upstairs, and I wouldn't be surprised if the head is going up and down, going, why am I not here, Rich? 2-1 on the Saratoga morning line, and I am going to hand it off to Joe. Again, I do not have my history notes here to tell you about the Travers, but I can tell you that $1,250,000 is Breeders' Cup money as far as a stakes race is concerned.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm not sure I don't see and I guess maybe our PPs don't show if this is a win in your in race. To be honest with you,
Yeah,
I don't know.
my PPs don't give that information to me, and if you'd like,
Yeah.
as Joe takes you into it, I can actually I'll look that up and just see if
Yeah,
I
that
can,
sounds
if I
like a
can
good
find that
idea.
out.
But don't be too long because sadly, well, I don't. Maybe it's not sadly. Maybe it's the smart decision. I went one deep, Rich. One deep, one. And to be honest, I'm telling you right now, it's not Mendelssohn. Because until Aiden O'Brien wins a race on the dirt of this magnitude in the United States, I'm going to let him beat me because he's about what? I don't know, 1 for 50 or 2 for 50 or some ridiculous number like that. So I'm gonna let him beat me even at 12-1. And sadly, I'm taking the role of Rich in this race. To me, I went through this race and I applaud Wonder Godot's connections for trying this spot. I actually kind of have a feeling she might be on the lead in this race. I just don't. I know she's beating the boys. I just don't know. And she's won in blinkers. She's won on dirt. She's won in a mile and a quarter. She's won on synthetic. I just don't know what she's beating up there. It doesn't seem like it's much. So again, she's 5-1, and I think she might be on the lead. Again, because I just don't know what she's beaten. And I looked back at the Jim Dandy, and they came home so slowly in that race. And then I saw the Travers, the Haskell, and I was like, well, Good Magic beat Bravazzo pretty easily. And he was one of the ones who got close to Justify. And looking at his PPs, it's like, okay, well, let's look back at Good Magic's PPs. 2 races back, he lost to Justify because he was coming back on 2 weeks rest. He was the only horse who actually they tried to run with Justify early and suffered for it late. And he only got beat a length, so that's not that bad. And then he lost to Justify in the Kentucky Derby. And then, of course, he won the race before that. And the race that started this campaign was, the first race was in the Fountain of Youth when Promises Fulfilled and Strike Power went 1-2 around the track. But to me, Good Magic's just been beating the best horses, and he's been meeting the best horses. He's been competitive with the best horses. And I don't know, maybe it's just me. I just think he's better than the rest of this field. And I see you highlighting Chad Brown, and that's another reason. It's like, great, he's got 30 some odd wins up at Saratoga, and he's basically lapped the field. 32% with Jose Ortiz. I would think you probably won't get. You might get. I don't know if you're going to get even money on this horse. I mean, again, I know it's the Travers, and I know and I'll call it what it is. There's a lot of people up there who it's dead money. And I know that there are going to be a lot of women up there betting, Wonder Godot. And again, I don't have a problem with that. It's well within their prerogative. I just don't know what she's beaten. And I really wanted to find somebody else to try and pair with this horse. And I remember Gronkowski's run in the Belmont, and obviously he's another Chad Brown who's somebody you could put in there. But I mean, I can easily see a repeat of the Haskell Exacta with Good Magic and Bravazzo. Like I said, I was not enamored by the finish of the Jim Dandy. They kind of were staggering home late. And again, another 1/8 of a mile. I don't know if that's necessarily going to help. And I think there's enough speed to keep Wonder Godot company. And like I said, I kind of think she might be on the lead here. And if she's not, she might be sitting outside the horse on the rail, the 30-1 trigger warning. But again, all the signs to me point to Good Magic repeating that Haskell, winning the Travers, and then setting up for a match at a mile and a quarter with Accelerate, amongst others. And maybe you'll even see City of Light in the gate at Churchill Downs for the Breeders' Cup Classic. But like I said, I just think Good Magic's better than the rest of the 3-year-olds. Maybe she's not better. Maybe he's not better than Monomoy Gal, but of course we didn't see her run in the Alabama. But like I said, I'm going to stick with the 9. In Chad we trust. Good Magic, and I'll take the 2-1 if I get it. I don't think you're going to get it, but if you can get it, great. Good Magic for me in the Travers. I don't see much competition there, Rich.
And just a programming note for like any of the female viewers who are following our show and wanted to get a comment in there. It's Joe English 16 at twitter.com.
No problem. Anytime.
All right, and just to say that there is solidarity among the three broke guys. I am not going off of Good Magic. I often refer to him as the champ, even though Justify obviously was the champ and like that. Good Magic was our 2-year-old champion last year. Joe, as you saw me, this is my ugly drawing here and things like Joe and Ray and I all saw him last year when he knocked us out of the pick 4 at that point in time, an earlier or middle pick 4. But Good Magic has just been nothing but solid. Yes, he did run into him, the one that came on and just won the Triple Crown. You can't blame a horse for that. Good Magic was the one. Yeah, that one. Right. Good Magic was the one solid horse that actually was around that kind of gave that guy fits. And once he got rid of him, once he got him out of there and things like that, I couldn't help but notice the smile on his face as they loaded him into the Haskell. You could just imagine that Good Magic was like, I don't see that big horse. I don't see that big horse. Is he not here? And then he just destroyed the field. So I chose to go. I didn't single here. I loved Good Magic. As you saw, I was going off the reservation in the earlier race. You would have thought I would have singled at some point today, but I didn't. I did go too deep, but I chose to go with both horses who were finishing second to justify. So I used 9, and I used Joe knows this horse got a little special spot in my heart as well because he keyed nice little exacta for me there back on Belmont Stakes Day. Gronkowski. So he is the closer. And Good Magic is the one that's going to come from the front here. If you look, there was not a whole lot of great statistics as far as the Travers is concerned because it's a 1.25 mile race. So you're only going to see that there's 2 races that are here. If you look a little bit earlier in your forms and you want to handicap the back page, I believe there is a race that's either race 5 or race 6 that's a 1 mile and an 1/8 race. And you will see that actually Saratoga has had a little bit of a speed bias to it. It's about 70% there at a 1 mile and 1/8. Remember, they are adding another 200 yards here for this race, so that's a little bit of a difference. But I took my one from the front, one from the back. Gronkowski was kind of that new face from another place when he came in over here for the Belmont Stakes. We really didn't know what it was that Chad Brown had, what it was that he was bringing over here from Europe. The horse had raced on synthetics. There was some concern as the idea is, over in Europe, you race on turf, and the horses that race on synthetic are usually a cut below. Why are they bringing him over here? In the end, God forbid, why did any of us ever question Chad Brown, for God's sakes? The horse just finished second by a length and 3/4 and closed in and keyed a nice little exacta there on Belmont Stakes Day. Again, Joe has mentioned the hotness, if you like, of Joel Rosario, who came out here to Southern California and just, put all the local jocks back to shame, reminded them why we call him Rosie. And, now they're back together again. They're here at the Travers. I know it's not a 1.5 miles. They're actually cutting back a little bit in this one. And I thought the Gronk might be worth a chance. And it also gives me that other thing that I use wherein I'm not splitting my Chad Browns. So I went 9-3 here in the last race. I believe Joe just singled there, and he's just got the 3. And I will go ahead and come on back to you guys.
Rich, you were talking about races at a 1.1 miles, and the race before this pick 4, which actually starts at pick 5, is the Personal Ensign, which is 9 furlongs. And to echo what you said, there have been 44 races run at this distance. Now, the only thing I can't guarantee is that a lot of them probably were not run over fast tracks because obviously there's been so much rain up at Saratoga. But Rich is right. 50% of the horses have been early types. 20% have been EP types. So 70% really have gone to the front end. But again, because there's been so much inclement weather, I don't know how many of those races were run over fast tracks, which is what I believe you'll get tomorrow.
Absolutely. And just to go back and before we go ahead and build up our pick 4 ticket here, I will tell you, and again, I was a little bit shoddy in my notes tonight. I apologize to everybody for that. I always try and do the best show as I possibly can. So the Ballerina Stakes, which we covered a little bit earlier here tonight, is a win and you're in for the Filly and Mare Sprint at the Breeders' Cup this year. The Forgo Stakes is a win and you are in for the Dirt Mile. And finally, the Sword Dancer is a winner and you're in for the Longines Turf. Joe, you had it right. The feature,
Travers is not winning you're in. Wow.
Yeah, the $1 million, the $1.25 million race is not a win and you're in.
Well, I'm guessing if Good Magic wins, I don't think there's going to be an issue whether he needs to get in or not. He'll just have to pay. They'll just have to pay their own way.
Yeah, I guess.
Not that it, not you just won $1 million race. I don't think it's that big a deal.
All right.
But Rich, while you're building the ticket, if you wanted, I mean, I was just thinking about, like I mentioned, the personal ensign which starts the race, which is race 7, and it starts the pick 5, the late pick 5. In New York, and it's like, to me it looks like, I mean, there's only 6 in the gate, but to me it's kind of a 3-horse race, if even that. You might not even, if you want, you could just say, well, it's Abel Tasman and Elate in the gate. Obviously Abel Tasman drew the rail and Elate drew the outside, but I believe one is 6-5 on the morning line and the other might be 7-5 or 8-5, somewhere in that range. And then I guess, I don't know if Farrell or Wildcat is the third choice, but obviously that's another grade 1 in race 7. There's the Alan Jerkins that we didn't even discuss, which is also a grade 1 in race 6, which is Chad Brown has a horse in there named Engage. Pletcher has his Gidu in there, and Jason Service has Forenzi Fire in that race. And of course, Rich, I would be remiss if I did not mention the return in post 9 of our favorite horse, or maybe I should say least favorite horse, Funny Duck. Running in the Jerkins tomorrow in race 6. There is little rain in the forecast, so I'm gonna say Funny Duck should. Anyway, you can use your own imagination and figure out what my opinion would be of him.
Anyway. You got to bring that up on a Friday.
It's funny because, like I said, I need to fill time in between while you're doing the template. So
absolutely,
I didn't have any trivia questions, or I didn't have any interesting information I found on social media about tomorrow's card. Other than, like you said, I mean, it should be a dynamite day of racing, and I think, I mean, and it's funny because we didn't even mention the Boston Spa, which is race 12, which is a lowly grade 2.
Grade 2.
I don't even know why they put it on this card. They should have just put it on Sunday's card and keep it separate from all the grade 1s. But I mean, Chad Brown's got 3 in there, so take your pick on which one of those 3 is going to win.
This is interesting without our third broke guy in here. It adds a little bit of an interesting dimension here to our final card. Democracy doesn't work as well with 2 people. You know what I mean?
Well, no. But we could go Big Bang Theory and say Sheldon decides all ties.
There you go.
But Sheldon is your cat, so I don't know how much he's going to be able to contribute.
We're going to be able to bring him in.
He's not going to be. I mean, unless maybe you could put down like numbers and he can just paw one of them like they do on. I don't know. I guess they do it for the Super Bowl and whatever on all the late night shows. Some elephant or a monkey or whatever picks the winner of the Super Bowl, or some silly thing like that. But no, but tomorrow's card it's an absolute fantastic day of racing, and if we don't make a sojourn to New York for Belmont Stakes Day next year, which we discussed off the air, and I guess maybe now is not off the air, the Travers would be the next logical choice if we were going to make a trip back east for a spectacular day of racing. It should be a lot. It should be a lot of fun, and it should be a high quality day of racing, and hopefully we can make some money for ourselves and for our viewer or viewers or those who watch us on tape delay on YouTube. So,
all right,
it should be fantastic. And it's funny because I didn't even mention the Pat O'Brien at Del Mar tomorrow with Roy H. and Battle of Midway is scheduled to run tomorrow. And
coming back, huh?
There's somebody else I'm missing. Can't remember who it is. There's another. Obviously, I mean, like I said, I know Roy H. is in the race. I know Battle of Midway. There's at least one other good horse in that race. It's. Like I said, we didn't handicap it, so I didn't look that closely at it. Anyway, go ahead, Rich.
All right, so here we go. The opening leg, I'm using pretty much all of our choices save one at this point in time. So Joe's top pick was the 6. My top pick was the 6. That was obviously in there. Joe, we got both of our second choices in there as well. So you've got the 2 and I've got the 5. Leg number 2, well, you didn't have too much diversity there. We had the 1 and the 8 just in different orders, all right? Mm-hmm. And leg number 2, I chose to go with our all option here, and we're using all 5 of our choices. Those are all 3 of Joe's, 7, 6, and 10, and you've also got my 2 choices in there as well, so you've got them all spread out. And that final leg almost came in with a single there for you. With good magic, I foul it up and I bring in the Gronk. I've got 9-3. So we got 6-2-5, and that's $30, 60 options for a $30 ticket.
And you know, like I said, we were talking earlier, and we are missing our third.
Absolutely,
we're missing the third side of our triangle, and we will probably, hopefully, try to get some handicapping nuggets out of him. I don't know if he will, but we'll at least try. And this is a temporary pick 4 ticket for now. But if we change it, we will set it out on social media, on our Twitter account, all of our Twitter accounts, and our Facebook page.
All right, so it's 6-2-5 with 1-8 with 7, 4, 6, 10, 8 with 9-3.
Somehow, Rich, it's funny. We got 5 horses in leg 3, and somehow I still don't.
I'm still not confident, right?
Like I said, I think probably, there are a couple other horses that could win that race.
Absolutely. That's why I chose it. That was the one I said, you know what? I'm going to use them all.
Yeah, we might as well. And and if C. Henge happens to win at 30-1, who am I to complain?
Right, exactly. we'll take our shots there. So.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let me come on back to you guys here, and we'll wrap this one up for the evening. All right, for those of you watching, if you enjoyed the show, unfortunately, we are not going to be back next week because, well, unfortunately, sometimes the 3 Broke Guys have other stuff to do. I will tell you that my friend Joe is one of the best dads. He's one of my favorite fathers in America, and he is off with his son's Boy Scout troop. Temecula Boy Scout troop, and I can't remember what the number is. Sometimes I know it off the top of my head, Joe.
384, Rich.
384, and he is off for another exciting weekend with them. I'm unfortunately traveling for work, so I will not be back in time to get here for the show. I will miss you all, and hopefully we'll be back the following week after that. I'm not sure exactly where it is we're going to be, but I tell you, the schedule makes itself. We don't make the schedule. Whatever the best card is, go out there and look it up. That's where the 3 Broke Guys are going to be.
Sounds good.
All right, Joe. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for tonight. You know, it's always a pleasure to handicap with you, and you know how much we miss Ray.
Yeah, of course we do. But the show must go on.
Absolutely. Even though he's not here, for Ray Torado, for Joe English, I'm Rich Sharp. Thank you for watching 3 Broke Guys Handicapping. Good luck. Good night.
Good night.